So the greatest choke of all, what's the best choke? Well, this isn't just my opinion. This is bound out by statistics. So the greatest choke of all, what is it? It's the rear naked choke. That's the choke where you put the arm around the neck, put the hand behind the head typically, and compress everything in. It's the rear naked choke. So first of all, why is it the greatest choke of all? Lots of reasons. So if you look at just the statistics in the UFC fighting alone, in 1 year alone, almost 44% of all submissions were done just by the rear naked choke alone. When you're sweaty, sliding that arm across the neck and finishing that way once you're on a person's back, that's kind of easier to do, especially, when there's no gi on or no clothes, no friction like that. So that's huge. A lot of, of all those chokes that there are, 44% or close to 44% of all submissions were from the rear naked choke. In grappling alone, in grappling tournaments alone, like in jiu-jitsu tournaments, the number one choke in no gi grappling tournaments, the number one submission choke was, again, the rear naked choke. And in gi situations, it was actually the number two choke after the triangle choke. So, overall, it's a great choke, and it's a high percentage submission, and it's fairly easy to do once you're on someone's back. In Portuguese, they call it the mata-leão, which means lion killer. So, and in Japanese, they call it hadakajime, which means naked choke. So you might be asking, well, why is it called a rear naked choke? Well, first of all, it's a choke. It's a blood choke. We're cutting off the arteries by squeezing in. And it's rear because to do this, you need to be on somebody's back or be behind them to do the rear naked choke. And it's called naked because there's no clothing that you need to pull across their neck. It's just your naked arm, with nothing on it, nothing pulling across the neck. So it's a rear naked choke. There are many variations of this rear naked choke. The primary one is where you put the arm across and you constrict the carotid arteries and put the other hand behind the head in different fashions. Some other ones are where people do it with one arm around the neck and the other tucked behind the back for a single arm choke. You can do it while standing, but it's not as good a control. You can have the hooks in. So once you're on their back, you can have your leg hooks in. You could have a body triangle, locking your legs one leg under your knee and locking your legs around their body on their back and doing it. So there's many versions and many ways to control a person while you get the rear naked choke. Once you get that choke, if you get it good, it's like 5 to 10 seconds of constriction, and the person goes unconscious. You're stopping the blood flow to the brain, which stops the oxygen to the brain, which makes the person pass out. Now, typically, this is a safe choke because you're not crushing the trachea and you're just constricting the blood flow. And once you stop or you let go, the blood starts flowing back to the brain and the person, wakes back up again. Sometimes you'll see they lift the feet up of the person and that kind of gets the blood flowing to the brain a little quicker. But I will say, and as a caveat, you need to know that if you hold that too long, if you keep holding that, once they pass out, you can cause brain damage or death. But that's only if you keep holding that thing for a long time. There was a case that I'm aware of where a couple family members were goofing around, didn't know what they were doing, and one died. But typically the choke is done when you feel it coming on, you tap, or if you feel the other person, go limp, you need to let that thing go. And always be watching and listening for your partner so that your, safety is a priority. But the rear naked choke, the number one choke there is. So highest percentage, easy to teach, and often, especially like in an MMA scenario or whatever, when you're on top and you're throwing punches, people that aren't very experienced, or sometimes even people that are experienced, they turn, they give you their back, and there's the choke right there. It slides right in, and there's many ways to get it. So there you go, guys. Number one, the greatest choke of all. And if you like the content, please share with others, like it on the YouTube channel, and subscribe. I'd appreciate it, and we'll keep some stuff coming out for you.